Hello, subscribers and first-time viewers. Welcome to the Kenny Hack. Today I'm going to be going over how I edit photos on my phone to prep for getting ready to burn on the laser. These here are the four apps I probably use the most. PixArt, Background Eraser, Photo Layers, and Text on Photo. They're all free apps that you can find in the App Store. I'm using an Android phone. I don't know if these are available on iPhone, but I'm sure there are similar apps that kind of do the same things. It might just be called something else. So here's the photo we're going to be editing today. This is a photo from a friend of mine. Got permission to use this photo for this video for educational purposes. So like I kind of chose this video or this photo because of the really white background. When you're trying to burn stuff on the laser, trying to pick up any kind of that detail in the background would be pretty hard. It'd be tough to get that light shading. So you'd have to apply a lot of shadows and contrast to bring out that shading detail in that white. But in doing that, you might really affect the image on how the little baby looks. So this might be a case where you'd want to Photoshop out the person, adjust the background, and then bring the person back in after you've made your changes. And then that way you can adjust the person to have one kind of shading, you can adjust the background to have a different kind of shading. So we're going to be kind of running through that with all these different programs, kind of showing you what they can do. So, like if I was going to burn this on a tile, the first thing I'd do would be to crop down the image. You can go in here, set it to square, and then kind of center up the image on how you want it to look. And say that's good. Crop it down. So now it's to a square. From there, like if I wanted to put a border on it, I can expand the border, make it smaller, make a black border, and you could also convert this to a circle. And then if you say you want it all to be white, no black, you could crop it all down, get it to where it's just a circle. And now the laser wouldn't spend any time trying to burn in the white areas. It would just skip it. It would help reduce your time. Like if you were going to try to burn an image onto a round mirror, you can come in here, quickly crop it down to a circle, and that way the laser's not wasting time trying to burn in the corners. But we're going to leave this as a square. We'll just cancel any of that stuff. Go back. Okay, so that's kind of the border deal. One I usually do, just because you can kind of start getting a sense of how it's going to look in black and white, is go to colors, go to color splash, just touch anywhere on the screen, drop out all the color, just turn it into a black and white image. So now as you can see, all the background has really lightened up. It's really very lightly shaded. So another setting is once you got it to black and white, we'll accept them changes. Go to Effects, come over here to the FX, and hit this HDR filter. It kind of instantly brings up the blacks to the blackest and the whites. It just makes everything really sharp really fast. It's kind of a good quick filter just to make the image a lot more higher contrast, and that seems to help burn easier on the laser. So we'll accept them changes. We don't, and then from there we'll go to Tools and we'll go to Adjustment. And here you have a bunch of different brightness, contrast, and stuff. And this one here, I don't have any exact settings. I mostly just kind of go by feel and just by look and what I think it looks good. Generally on wood that I burn on, pretty much how it looks on the screen is pretty close to how it's going to look on the wood. So I'll just keep making adjustments until I'm happy with how the photo looks. But in this case, we're going to specifically only be looking at the background, because I want to get the background to exactly how I'm not going to worry about how the little baby looks in the photo. I'm going to try to get the background the best I can get it in how I want it to look. So might bring the brightness down, kind of flatten out the contrast. You can see that's kind of making the shadows in the rug come out a little bit more. And that's kind of what we're looking for. We're trying to get some more color, a little more details into that rug, into the background curtain, a little more definition in the trees, in the Christmas tree. You know, like I said, there's no perfect setting. Just kind of playing with the different settings. Going until I kind of like what it's looking like there. See how much more details you can see in the rug. That before it was all kind of washed out. Now it's kind of got more of a shading into the curtain in the back, so the laser will have a little bit of color it can burn in. Kind of the only downfall right now is you can kind of see it's throwing this little bit of a halo effect around the baby and around the Christmas tree. That's might have to kind of live with that. That might just be a little side effect of this particular image, but we'll see if that halo effect kind of stays around. But once again, just looking at just the background, I'm going to call that good right there for the sake of this video. So we'll hit the check mark in the top right corner to accept them changes, and we're going to save it just as that. So I'll save that, and then I'm going to drag this image into the other programs, and I'll show you how to Photoshop out just the baby. So we'll go to that next. So here we're in background eraser. We'll load the photo. So here we are in background eraser. I've loaded that photo into it. When you first open it up, you'll be able to crop the image and move it some more if you want, but generally I do all that settings over in PixArt. I already got it to a square format, and you want to have it keep the exact same aspect ratio from this one to as when you edit it out, because like when we go into photo layers, we're going to combine the edited background with the edited baby and make it back into one photo. So you really don't want to change any of that in background eraser. Just say select it as it is, go done. And this one here, you kind of got this auto button. Like if it's on auto, it'll kind of delete everything that's the same color. That works okay for some things, but not on this image. You can hit this back arrow and it'll undo it. Manual is just like a normal eraser. It'll erase anything you cross over. This magic one, and you can zoom in on the screen just by using your two fingers and spreading apart, kind of like a normal zoom. But this one here, this magic, it does really good at kind of tracing out around the edge and just picking out just the stuff you want to get. Like sometimes it kind of overdoes it, but for the most part, you can pretty easily crop out something. In this case, when you're going to put the image right back in, it doesn't need to be super perfect. If you get 99% of it, one little chunk that might not catch the photo editing, when the image is combined, you won't see it. So you just can follow around here. You can go pretty quick. You can change the size of that and really do a big block if you want. And you can always come back, and if it overshoots it and takes out part of the image you want, I'll show you can repair that pretty easily too. So, you know, you don't need to be super precise. You know, 20 years ago when I had to do this in Windows Paint, this was a pixel by pixel operation. It took forever to crop stuff out. if you didn't have a really fancy photo editing machine. I used to have to do this in Windows Paint, zoom way in on the, down to the pixel size, and have to remove photos pixel by pixel and get the edges just perfect. Now you can do these photos in a matter of a few minutes, and it's very simple to do. So now that I got it mostly all cropped out, I can switch back over to manual, turn up the size, and just delete out all of the background. I just want to get just the baby just by herself, so I can apply a different filter for that. Okay, so get in. Now over here on the left side, it's got background color. You can switch that, and it changes it to a dark background color. You kind of can see if you've missed any of the portions and get them deleted out. So you can see here, part of her face has been erased, but hit the repair button and you can zoom back in and just draw it back in, fill it back. You can kind of go around, get your size of, fill her back in, draw stuff back in that you're gonna edit later. She had a little bit of hair up here, like this right here. When you combine the photos, you wouldn't even be able to see that. I really didn't need to fix that part, but just showing you how easy it is to fix stuff. There's a little part here that needs erased. Go back to repair. Find a spot. Oh, need to fix that back up. Go to manual erase. Get that cut back off. Just get any little funny shapes that are poking outside the image. So other than that, so now all of that higher contrasting rug that was in there before, when I shop it back in, it should stay there. So that right there, we'll call it done. She's shopped out by herself. Now we'll go done, and we'll save that image. Finish. So now I'm back in PixArt, and this is the part I cropped back out. Now we're going to edit just her until we get like her facial details and get all the details we're looking for that I think will look good for her. So we maybe don't need it. We can maybe brighten it back up just a hair. Try the contrast. Maybe don't need any more clarity. It's already been sharpened up quite a bit. And I try not to, I just try to get it to where you don't see a lot of pure white. It's better to have a little more mid-tones. Give the color a little bit, the laser a little bit of color for it to try to burn in. So we'll drop that back a little. We'll adjust that there. And as you can see, now the best way to probably do this would take in the original photo before I applied any filters to it and cropped her out for this image on the original photo before I applied any other colors to it, which you'd do it the exact same way. As soon as I saved it in the square format, I'd have moved over to a background eraser, cropped all the background out, and saved a picture of just her by herself with no adjustments done to it. And then I could have brought that into here and had a completely different, settings for her. But just for the sake of time on this video, I think you kind of should get the understanding of how, there's different orders you can do different stuff in, but it's just so you can apply a different look to little kids have a really tough time getting shading into their face. They got such smooth skin. Luckily this was done by a professional photographer, so they did really well of getting some shading on her face. But a lot of people's personal pictures, if they don't get that shading, you'll get a ghosted image where all you really see is their eyes and their mouth. A lot of times you don't get any shadows on their nose or their cheeks, and all you'll see is just a white face with just black eyes and a black lips, and it's kind of called ghosting, and that's what we're trying to avoid. So we'll call that good. Like I said, this is just for educational purposes. I'm not going to use this one, so we'll call that good. We'll save that image. So now we're into the Photo Layers app, and I loaded that initial save file where I'd got the background to all the color and texture I wanted. Now I'm going to add in that last one where it was just the baby cropped out. So go done, then you go up to the top, add photo, and then once again, don't change the aspect ratio. Don't shrink them edges in at all. Just keep them right where they're at, because you're going to want to snap to fit when we're done with this part. So there's that one. And then you just hit this fit button down on the bottom left, and now she's superimposed back in. So if you got the background where you wanted it, and you got your subject of the image where you want it, now it's ready for burn. You're going to get the background you want, and you're going to get the subject you want. And so as you can see, it doesn't take long to edit photos, even talking through it. I mean, I can usually get a photo like this edited and ready to go in only like 5 or 10 minutes is about all it takes me to do anymore. Like once you get pretty good with it, I have a Samsung Galaxy Note 9, and it has a stylus pen with it, so that makes it even easier if you kind of got a stylus pen to draw with. So that'd be, save that, and then it would be ready to go. And we'd call that finished. And then from there, I just send it to myself in Messenger so I can get on my computer, and then I could drag it into GIMP, set the final size. If I wanted it like 100 millimeters by 100 millimeters, I could set the resolution to like 318, get it all set for sizing in GIMP, send that to Lightburn. I could see how it looks in Lightburn. If I wanted to make any further gamma or brightness and contrast adjustments in Lightburn, I could still do it. But hopefully most of the stuff I did in here should be pretty dang close to how I'd want it in Lightburn. But if I'd run some test strips and it didn't quite come out the way I wanted it, I still have the ability to adjust a little bit more in Lightburn. But hopefully this is just kind of a quick how-to, and I'll quickly show you just that text on photo, just how it works. So here we are in text on photo. This is another free app. It's pretty simple and self-explanatory to use. You just double tap on that. You can type in like Merry Christmas and say okay. You can drag that over her head. There's all kinds of fonts you can load up into it. There's a lot of stored fonts that they have online that you can load in. There's all kinds of preloaded ones. Well, let's call it like finger paint. Go back to that. You can come in here. You can curve it. Then you can stretch it out. You can either change it from the opacity. You could fade it in, fade it out. A lot of quick options you can do with your wording. And this also does it in layers to where you can add multiple layers to put stuff in the background, bring stuff to the foreground. Just another quick little app That is very handy if you like to put text onto your photos. So that's kind of what I use that one for. Hopefully this has just kind of been a helpful, quick how-to. Use some free phone apps so you can process images when you're not at home, when you got a break during your day at work, or just out having your coffee at a restaurant. You can sit here and throw some pictures together just anytime you want. That's kind of how I do it. So when I get home at night, anything I want to burn for that night, I've already got prepared, and I'm not spending the time when I could be burning trying to get my images prepared. So hope you find this helpful. Please like, subscribe, share, comment below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.